Bonjour, language learners, and welcome to this explainer. Okay, if you are an English speaker learning French, you have absolutely hit a wall at some point. You open up a grammar book, you look at a single French verb, and suddenly it just shatters into a dozen different forms. It looks like this highly encrypted wall of text, right? And it naturally induces this paralyzing fear that you're never ever going to be able to memorize all these conjugations. But as an educator who completely geeks out on breaking down complex grammar, I'm here to let you in on a little secret. It is actually incredibly logical. Today, we're going to treat French verbs not as some frustrating mystery, but as a code. And I'm going to give you the ultimate logic-based cheat code to absolutely master the French present tense.
So let's just dive right into this. Why do they seem so incredibly difficult at first glance? Well, it's really because written French and spoken French can honestly feel like two completely different languages. We get so bogged down in the spelling, the extra letters, the random exceptions, but once you strip away all that visual noise and just focus on the mechanics, the underlying math of the language, if you will, you realize just how easy it actually is.
Here is our roadmap for the explainer today. We'll hit 1. Welcome to the present tense. 2. The silent ending secret. 3. Group 1 ER verbs. 4. Group 2 IR verbs. 5. The big 4 irregulars. And 6, we'll wrap up with a quick recap and a quiz.
All right, let's kick things off with section 1. Welcome to the present tense, or as the French call it, le présent de l'indicatif.
Before we conjugate a single thing, we obviously need to know exactly when to actually use this tense in our daily lives. You're going to use the present tense for 3 main things. First, for habits or regular actions. Actions régulières. Think, I take the train every day. Second, for general truths, like the sky is blue. And third, for actions happening right now, literally in this very moment, or actions momentanés, like I am speaking. And here's a huge win for us. Unlike English, which constantly switches between I speak and I am speaking, French just uses this one incredibly versatile present tense for both.
Moving right along to section 2, the silent ending secret. Prepare yourself for a total paradigm shift that will literally change how you view French forever.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is the silent ending secret. In written French, regular verbs have all these different intimidating endings. But in oral spoken French, the letters E, ES, and ENT at the very end of conjugated verbs are completely 100% silent. Because of this, for regular verbs, the je for I, tu for you, il and elle for he and she, and the plural ils and elles for they forms often sound exactly the same. Yes, you heard me correctly. 4 completely different spellings, but just one single pronunciation.
Which brings us to section 3, group 1, the ER verbs. Let's see our new secret weapon in action on the group that makes up a whopping 70% of the French language.
Cracking the code for ER verbs is essentially just a really simple 2-step mathematical formula. Step 1, you take the dictionary form of the verb, which we call the infinitive, and you physically drop the ER right off the end. This leaves you with your root or your stem. Step 2, you just add your new grammatical endings depending on who is actually doing the action. And those endings are E, S, E, ONS, EZ, and ENT.
Let's look at a real example with the verb parler, to speak. We drop the ER, leaving our root PARL. Now we just attach our endings. So we get je parle, tu parles, il parle, il parle. But wait, remember our secret rule? The E, ES, and ant make literally 0 sound. So the pronunciation simply stops dead at the letter L. All 4 of those forms are pronounced exactly the same. Parle. The only ones that actually sound different out loud are nous parlons and vous parlez.
Now, this brilliantly illustrates a tiny, super logical spelling tweak that you are occasionally going to see. Take the verb manger, to eat. It's an ER verb for sure, but it ends in GR. When we get to that nous form, if we just blindly drop the ER and added ons, it would be spelled MANGONS. Well, in French, a G right before an O makes a hard guttural sound, like mongons. But we want that beautiful soft G sound, so the language logically just keeps the E in there as a little buffer. Nous mangeons. It's just a tiny tweak entirely for the sake of pronunciation. All right, let's shift gears to section 4 and see how this logic builds into group 2, the regular IR verbs. The underlying logic here, it stays the exact same. It's literally just a new code to plug into the machine. Step 1, drop the IR from the infinitive verb. Step 2, add the new endings.
And for this specific group, those endings are is, it, isance, isse, and isant.
Let's conjugate finir, to finish. We drop the IR and that leaves the root fin. The singular forms are super simple. Je finis, tu finis, il finit. The S and T at the very end are totally silent, so they literally all just sound like fini. But pay incredibly close attention to the plural forms. This is the defining characteristic of group 2. We add that distinct, really dramatic ISS sound. Nous finissons, vous finissez, ils finissent. Whenever you hear that snake-like hiss in the plural, you instantly know you're dealing with a group 2 verb.
Section 5. The Big Four Irregulars. We've completely mastered the patterns, so now let's look at the absolute must-know exceptions.
Now these 4 specific verbs, être for to be, avoir for to have, aller for to go, and faire for to do or make, they honestly do not care about our formulas. They radically change and they just have to be memorized, plain and simple. And I really want to specifically point out the vous form of faire here. It is vous faites, not vous faisiez, which is a super common beginner mistake. It is absolutely essential to just burn vous faites right into your memory.
And hey, while we're looking at these irregulars, we really need to address a major pronunciation danger zone. Let's examine the plural forms for avoir and être. Ils ont means they have. Because ils ends in an S and ont begins with a vowel, we do what's called a liaison, connecting those sounds together. It creates a buzzing Z sound, ils ont. Now contrast that with ils sont, meaning they are. Here the S in sont makes a very sharp hissing S sound, ils sont. Ils ont versus ils sont. Getting this wrong completely changes the entire meaning of your sentence, so you've got to listen super closely to that difference.
All right, Section 6, Recap and Quiz. Let's test out your brand new skills.
Here is a rapid-fire summary of everything you need to take away from this explainer today. First, the ultimate spoken French secret, the endings s, and ont are completely silent. Second, for ER verbs, drop the ER and add your specific endings. Third, for IR verbs, drop the IR, add the new endings, and always listen for that dramatic is sound in the plural. And finally, the big 4 irregulars, être, avoir, aller, and faire, they just require some good old-fashioned memorization.
All right, it's quiz time, because active recall is honestly the best way to learn. Question 1. How do you conjugate the ER verb parler for the plural pronoun ils? Take a second to think about it.
Got it? The answer is ils parlent, spelled P-A-R-L-E-N-T. But remember our golden rule. That E-N-T is completely silent, so out loud it just sounds like ils parlent.
Awesome. Let's keep this momentum going. Question 2. How do you conjugate the regular IR verb finir for the pronoun nous? Think back to that distinct plural sound. The answer is nous finissons. You drop the IR and you added issent. Beautiful job hitting that dramatic ISSS sound.
Okay, last one, and I'm totally hitting you with the hardest question. From our Big 4 irregulars list, how do you conjugate the verb faire for the pronoun vous?
The answer is vous faites. If you said vous faisiez, hey, don't worry about it. You're definitely not alone, but now you know the correct form for next time. You guys, you have successfully cracked the code of the French present tense. You have the math formulas, you know the phonetic secrets, and now you literally just need to practice. So here's my challenge to you. Pick a verb, literally any regular ER or IR verb, and drop one perfectly conjugated sentence in the comments below. Show off your brand new skills. But before you go, ask yourself this. If the present tense is really just a simple code of silent endings, what kind of crazy secrets are hiding in the French past tense? Thank you so much for learning with me today. Keep practicing, and I will see you next time to crack the next code.